Somebody may want to know, why are you even telling me not to do your doctor's work? How did that thing sound to you? A doctor's work. You're calling yourself a doctor's work. I used to tell patients, you should be your first doctor. I should not care about you more than yourself, because I'm supposed to care about 30 different persons daily, every day. So I see why when you spread that care out, so naturally you should be more concerned about your health than myself. So you don't leave you yourself. I was arguing with one nurse somewhere, couple of back. I think I was trying to get one of the colleagues to do something. And she was like, no, that's not their job. That's not a nurse's job. That's a social person's lab technician's job or a scientist's job. I did something a nurse could also help to do because of to save time. So I told him, I said, I'm not asking you to, I'm not requesting the nurse to do this job. I'm asking a favor from you as a person. And I said, no, if I do that thing, I'm encouraging these other people to be lazy. I said, okay, let's reverse the scenarios. Let's say it is your father that I'm asking you to go and do something for early, instead of wait for the person who has the actual job. He now got upset and said, why will I use this father's name? I said, so that you can get the context. So there are moments when we wish as doctors that the patient knew better. Knowledge is what they say it is power. So knowledge is not supposed to be a problem. It's supposed to be an advantage. That's why we're preaching what we're preaching. So let me take you away. I'm trying to drink water, but this is branded water, and it would not pay me money. Yeah? So we're not drinking anything on camera that's branded. If you want us to take a product on camera, you come and see us. Okay, so what you're supposed to do is to, if somebody suddenly loses consciousness, they are an older person, 50, 60, 70, or when it's obvious that the person has had a stroke, and the stroke is just loss of function on one side of the body. This part of the brain controls this side of the body. Part of the brain controls this side of the body. So when one side of the brain suddenly goes off, you get the sign on one side. I wish you would hear me and carry that patient and go and do a non-contrast CT scan of the brain. And the reason is, hear me out. Hear me out. The reason is the type of stroke, the knowledge of what type of stroke you are dealing with is what will bring you back to as if you never had a stroke. Knowledge. If I don't know the type of stroke I'm dealing with, I would continue managing you, but you'll not get better. Because I think that's the most vital organ in the body, the brain. And brain damage is, a lot of it is irreversible. So we have a 3-hour window beyond which function will not return to what it used to be. People can go into what we call vegetative state. They are alive, but they are not there. People can go into what we call permanent paraplegia, or permanent hemiplegia, where one side of the body stays weak forever. So again, it's a cerebrovascular accident. It can happen to anybody. So when someone has an accident, if it's supposed to bring them back to what they used to be, that would be a good idea. But the gap is knowledge. The gap is not even facility. The gap is knowledge. The worst thing that can happen to somebody is when they have the means to solve their problems and they don't have the information. That's the worst that can happen to somebody. I will not say it's better for you to have knowledge and not have means. Because most times the knowledge creates the means. But it's worse when you're groping in the dark and you have the means to help yourself. So to put light, to cast light on your path, to cast light around you, I've said it many times. If the people around you are medically enlightened, it will affect you positively when you're conscious. So share this video. Everybody can share it. How do I share it? Your WhatsApp, copy everywhere to the last person, including the ones that blocked you. How do I share it? On your social media, that your 200 followers. Drop it on your page. Mark all of them, share. On your Facebook, friends, share. Share. It's not you talking now. Somebody else teaching them what to do for themselves. So you're helping yourself by sharing it to everybody. Should in case you're in their arms, unconscious, so that they'll move early. Mhm. Blood flows to every part of the body through vessels that look like this. They're called arteries and veins. See veins here. You can see them. Arteries are deeper inside, but you can still feel them inside. Inside. They're carrying blood from the heart out to everywhere for nourishment, carrying oxygen to everywhere through the blood, and then veins are bringing blood back. So it's go out and come back, go out and come back, go out and come back. If that go out does not complete, and it's the brain that's involved. For people who have sickle cell anemia, what causes the pain you see them have when they say they're having crisis is that blood to the bone where that pain is happening was blocked by a sickled blood cell. That's what's happening there. So it will show them as pain. They get to the hospital, they're giving them painkillers until we flush that thing out. And it's bone. So it still has enough time before it has a problem. Before we have a bone infection. It's not the same with brain. Brain is not like this. So if a brain suffers something that will expose you to an infection, the faster you start moving, the better the chance of going back to normal function. So if you mold the human being as an artist and you do the electrical wiring that will control all the limbs, where you send the powerhouse is here. Where the switch is will be here. So when you turn the switch on, and the whole thing starts doing like this, that's what the brain is. The ability to talk, to express, to move my hands, all that is coordinated from here. This part coordinates this part. This part coordinates this part. But all this is possible because the food I'm eating is getting there through the blood. Through this. That's how it's growing. The air I'm breathing is getting to my brain through the blood. That's the carrier system that takes the air everywhere. The food you eat, that's the carrier system that takes it everywhere. So if the carrier system, which is the blood, moving inside this medium, can no longer get to the brain because it's blocked or because the pipe is broken, that is true. The moment this happens and somebody carries you to go and do a non-contrast CT scan of the brain, immediately the radiologist will be able to tell us what happened is a blockage that happened in so artery in the brain. Once we have that information, thank you, sir. Break the block. Blood starts going. Function returns. Everybody's happy. Or the radiologist tells us that the person is broken. Thank you, sir. Function is restored. Everything goes back to normal. But if you, first of all, drive all the way to the hospital, and then you get to the hospital, you come into a triage that is busy, then you sit there, 3 hours pass. And then when you see the doctor tells you go and do a scan, because he's not doing what I'm doing, to explain it like this, you still think a scan is also as important as a blood test, also as important. We'll take our time, let us see, okay, which one do we do first? You're taking your time. Time is brain. More so is strokes. And it may be you that people will gather around on the bed, lying down, trying to make a decision for. And it's 6 hours gone already. And you are lying down there. And your spirit is wishing that you sent this video when you were still conscious. So send it now. You're conscious now. Send the video. Everywhere. Send it everywhere. So that people will learn what to do in case you enter trouble. It's for your own good. Protect yourself by surround yourself with knowledge. So send. Don't wait for us to beg. Say, send it for yourself. for your own good. A blocked vessel can be set going by removing the block. When is a blood clot? What is a blood clot? When you bleed out on the floor, after a while the blood dries. That drying of the blood should not happen inside here. But for some other reasons, that will teach you later. It happens. So when it happens, and we know, we remove it fast. It's easy to remove it if we know. But if it's a breakage that happened in this carrier, the blood is not going, but it can't get to the brain. It's pouring away. So the brain is lacking blood from reaching it. And we know what to do to restore blood to that brain. The problem is that if we don't do that, this particular scan I mentioned, we are good groping, depending on where you are in the world. You're in India, you're in China, you're in Asia, you're in Europe, you're in the US, you're in Africa, wherever you are, depending on what is obtainable in your healthcare system. I'm telling you now, in case somebody in human beings that are still handling this system, so people can forget things, people can oversight that happen. So you remind them, please, can we get a scan? A non-contrast CT scan of the brain, write it. If fish writing it, if anything happens to you, nobody will carry it from your book and do it for you. So send video. When they do the scan, they'll tell us for sure na block happen or it's a break that happened. When they tell us which one that happened, we'll now treat each one. That's a way to treat each one and bring function almost 100% back to what it used to be. Plus consciousness, loss of consciousness back to consciousness. Loss of function back to regain function.